Next, we're going to discuss a company called Yodle that does advertising, online advertising. They claim they're going to do wonderful things for your advertising for a small business. They're not. They're out there to screw you. And I'm going to go through how their illegal actions are being covered up. This is also the company, when I gave my opening statement about illegally recording phone calls, and it's the government behind them recording these phone calls. But let me start off how they operate. Yodle's website states, advertise across our network of partner sites. Now, and they list Google, Yahoo, AOL, Bing, Ask. Yodle stated on its website, Yodle has strategic partnerships with all of the major search engines, including Google and Yahoo. In other words, they have strategic partnerships. What the hell is a strategic partnership? But it sounds like they work with them. They can get you a better deal with your costs and stuff. After I filed the lawsuit, Yodle, stupidly, but they volunteered, I'm not going to argue with them, gave me a copy of Google AdWords frequently asked questions. And it states, beware of SEO, search engine operators or whatever, that claim to guarantee rankings, allege a special relationship with Google, or advertise a priority submit to Google. According to Google, which is right here, they don't have special relationships. They do not have, what is a strategic partnership? Special relationship with anyone as claimed by Yodle and Leach. So they're lying right there. They can't have a special relationship because they say they don't, are strategic partnership. Same thing, they just changed the word a little bit so it sounds better, and it's not the same word that Google uses. Yodle provided to me AdWords authorized resellers. Okay. What kinds of companies or claims should be avoided when considering Google AdWords? Every advertiser, no exception, Yodle, me, anybody, every advertiser pays the same price for AdWords. We don't give discounts to anyone. That's very simple that Google puts this out. They do not give discounts to anyone. So in other words, Yodle is paying the same cost that I would be paying. Everyone pays the same price. Therefore, Yodle's claim on is what we optimize your media budget with our proprietary click rank bidding software to reduce your click costs is totally false. Yodle's click rank bidding software does not reduce click costs as claimed by Yodle. This also means that Yodle was paying an average of 87 cents per click because that's what I was paying at the time. That's not every click was 87 cents. It says an average of it. Some were more, some were a little less, but that's what it averaged out. First bill I get from Yodle. I'm going to go into it, but the first bill was $203.67. 21 clicks, an average of $9.70 a click. That is over 10 times more. And they told me they were going to reduce my click costs. You add in the $69 management fee that they charge each month for managing your account. My new click cost per click is $12.94 from 87 cents. They're not reducing your click costs. Software to reduce your click costs. Totally false. But what they do is that you actually spent $8.19 for 21 clicks because they charge you $7.50 a month for the advertising and $69 for management fee for a total of $8.19. So my per click cost was $39. Yet Yodle told me that they were going to reduce my click costs. Here it is. They then go on, they gave me, and they were also nice enough to give me the phone transcripts, which really does everything. But this is one of my personal, what we do is we charge $69 to manage your AdWords for you. $69 to manage. And of course, you have your monthly budget, which is going to the search engines themselves. In other words, they're charging $69 to manage my account, and $750 that I paid them to manage the account is going to the search engines. This is by Leach's statement. So you pay everything to us directly, and of course, we take your investment and invest it for you. Yes, they do. Right into Yodle's pocket. They're not investigating anything. What got me was, which really started to sound the alarm, was after I signed up for them. I get this. Advertising dollars go directly to the search engines. He then sends a letter that says, earn $200 by referring your friends to Yodle. Sign up for our referral program here. Only takes a minute. Now wait a minute. 3 months at $70 is $210, minus the 3 because it's $69, for $207, and they're going to pay $200 to get another person to come in? Doesn't sound like my advertising dollars are going to the search engines. It sounds more like it's going to Yodle. States, Melissa, according to Leach, the trainer Yodle charges $69 a month for 3 months. You spend all this and you can't do it. They'd be losing money. Plaintiff is basing this lawsuit on allegations in his complaint that I represented to him that Yodle advertising campaign would generate more clicks for him and cost him less per click than Google AdWords advertising. Yeah, he did. It was very simple. We're going to reduce your click costs. And if you're advertising with them, you would expect to get more calls and more people calling you at $750 a month. That I represent to him that Yodle would spend down each month his $750 monthly advertising budget fee, and that Yodle would charge plaintiff whatever the search engines charged Yodle. This is totally false. No, it's not. I just documented where I was told that they were going to reduce my click costs. And that now Leach in his affidavit states, plaintiff is basing this law on allegations in his complaint that I represented to him that Yodle advertising campaign would generate more clicks. Well, that's what I hired them to do, to get more clicks, more people coming to my website for him, and the cost to him less per click than Google AdWords advertising. Well, they advertised that they were going to reduce my click costs. So therefore I would expect, I'm not saying each one, but on an average, my click cost should have gone down. Not to $9.08 or $9 or $12, and actually it was $39 per click. If I'd known that, I never would have signed up with them. That's how they lie and deceive. And that Yodle would charge plaintiff whatever the search engines charge him. Yes. He said that my money was going to the search engines, not to Yodle to make a profit over. That's the $69 a month they were charging me was to manage the account, and the rest was going to the search engines. So that's totally false what he stated there. During the sales presentation stated, but this is one of my personal, and of course you have your monthly budget which is going to the search engine. Leach had appellant read Yodle's website, which states that its click rate bidding software was going to reduce appellant's click costs. This is false. We optimize your media budget with our proprietary click rank bidding software to reduce your click costs. No, it doesn't. Their bidding software system doesn't do that, and you're going to see in a minute. Website. It is a tool used by Yodle to restrict. They talk about their website on how you have all these terms and connectors that are going to reduce the number of clicks a customer will receive. It actually limits or reduces your clicks. They're doing the opposite. Yodle's billing scam. This is how it works. They charge $750 minus $203 what they claimed I owed for the advertising for the month, which left me with a balance of $546. The next month, they take the $546, they charge you again for another $750, but they only spend another $203 on advertising. Now they have in your account $1,093. Then comes the third month. You only have a 3-month contract. $93, they charge you another $750. In my case, they attempted to, but I changed my credit card, so they couldn't get the third one. $67 they spent on advertising because it's the end of the month. So now they got a balance in an account of $1,775. You don't want to go to it. What they don't give you, they have a thing called Yodle Service Terms and Conditions. They don't tell you about it. It's not attached to anything. I went to my emails and I made it as an argument in the appellate court, and they said I couldn't add something afterwards. But I never received it. But there was good information in it that I used in my appeal and my arguments before the court, lower court and the appellate court. Problem is, they don't tell you you are not entitled to a refund. They say, well, we'll spend another month of advertising. They weren't spending anywhere as near as what they were charging. They weren't even spending a third of the money. They're pocketing it because you're not entitled to a refund. Even if you went another month with them, what are they going to do? Spend another $67 or $80 on your account? That's about all. They're not going to do anything. Now, in order to continue to keep paying the maintenance fee and monthly advertising cost. So in other words, if you want to continue with them, you still have to keep paying the $750 plus the advertising fee. Now, if you're making $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 off of every person that comes in off of one, it pays for itself. You're not too worried about it. But when you're struggling, like a lot of businesses are, that's a lot of money to have somebody rip you off of. Now, what they do is they claim they have keywords. In my case, 14 for divorce. Uncontested divorce, easy divorce. They put them in there. And then they talk about their geographical modifiers. He's talking, I'm saying, well, I can do stuff through the mail and stuff. Stay in New York. Well, he's talking about going back to the cost. He's telling me in the interview it costs around $5 per click in New York City. I can buy it being higher in New York City than up here in upstate. But I'm paying over $9 a click. Why is my per click cost higher than what they would charge in New York City? Doesn't make sense. Use keywords, then they use their geographical modifiers. This is where they screw the people over. The geographical modifiers. How it works. For Rensselaer County, Yodle listed Rensselaer County. So that would be Rensselaer County. Very simple. But then they add, so they can claim that they have like 60 or 100 geographical, when they get done, they claim, in my case, I had 64 modifiers for a total of 800 and something combined if you multiply the two. So, if you look at it, Rensselaer County, 12181, which is post office boxes. 12052, Cropseyville. Troy, 12180, Wyanskill, Posenkill. Then they put the zip code, and then as a separate one they have the town of Posenkill. 12182, North Troy. 1279, West Sand Lake. No zip code, but that. These are all redundant. Once you've said Rensselaer County, all these other geographical modifiers are redundant. They're all in Rensselaer County, so you don't need to put them in twice. On the other hand, for Albany County, Yodle listed Green Island, Waterville, Newtonville, Cohoes, Latham, Glenmont, Guilderland, Slingerland, Delmar, Selkirk, and Guilderland Center. So, based upon this, if somebody in Albany County lives in Altamont, Berne, Bethlehem, Coinsmans, Colony, Knox, Manance, New Scotland, Ravenna, Rensselaerville, Voorheesville, Westerlo, they're not getting it. Only the people in this. So half of Albany County gets my ad, the other half does not. They could have just put Albany County, which would have been sufficient, would have covered the entire county. Yodle then takes the number of keywords, 14, and multiplies it by the number of geographical modifiers for a total of 896 search term. It's a crock. The geographical modifiers are to prevent you from getting clicks by reducing your area. That's why they're pocketing the money. They want to pocket the money. Yodle is deliberately sandbagging its clients' advertising. Illegal recording of my phone calls. Now call. As far as they're going to come into, you want them calling into the 00380 number. Correct. That's my phone number. That was correct. Well, remember, we're going to purchase the tracking number for you, so it can be either one. Just for the tracking number that they see and dial. I'd rather just use my number to the local number. So I turned down their tracking number. Right there, I turned it down. I said I don't want it. I want my phone number to be used. Okay, that worked. So he has agreed to use my phone number. All right. I sent them 2 emails. Please do not continue with the mirror image of my website that was set up using MakeDivorceEasy.org or recording my phone call conversations. I didn't know if they were or not, but I sent them a letter on May 3rd. May 4th. You do not have my permission to record any of my conversations with anyone, and you do not have my permission to use a mirror image website. Yodle states, Yodle sponsored service may also include call recording. The customer. Now, I never got this Yodle service agreement, terms and conditions. That wasn't attached to any of my emails or anything else. It's not listed on the contract, anything about it on the contract, that the one-page contract I signed. And may also include call recording. And customer may request call recording be turned off at any time. I sent them 2 emails in 2010 to turn it off. Clearly shows that I never agreed to Yodle recording my phone calls. They couldn't record my phone calls because, what did they do? They used the tracking number. They didn't use my phone number. So by using their tracking number, which they agreed not to, or Leach agreed on behalf, Brad Leach agreed on behalf of Yodle not to, they recorded my phone conversations with people. They had no legal right to do it, and I never authorized it. The above clearly shows I never agreed to Yodle recording my phone calls. Clearly shows I was told that my phone number was going to be used and not Yodle's tracking number. As a note, Yodle continued to record my phone calls even after they were served with a cease and desist order to show court. After about 4 months, I filed a lawsuit, or 3 months, I filed a lawsuit against Yodle, and I got a cease and desist order. Even after the cease and desist order was served on them, they continued to record my phone conversations. If somebody was calling in from a number through their number, they were recording it. So they don't even care if it's a court order or not. They're going to do what they want to do. That's why I'm saying, who's behind it? Are they working for the government to record small businesses' recording devices? Judge Hummel stated that I agreed to have Yodle record my phone calls. In his order, dismissing my complaint against Yodle, everything they did was right, and I even agreed to the recording of the phone calls. I never agreed. He lied. And what do? He gets promoted. He becomes a federal judge. They must have liked him on the they must like him on the federal judge because he's willing to fix cases. And that's what they look for in New York State. Who are the corrupt judges? Because that's who we're going to get. Was Hummel paid off by Yodle to cover up all their illegal actions here? If there was a payment, who made it? Why would Judge Hummel lie about this? Judge Hummel doesn't like me. He was from Rensselaer County where I served, Doesn't like me because I stand up to the judiciary and he's going to teach me a lesson. He's corrupt. Now, who paid him off? Or it's either he didn't like me and he was fixing the case, or somebody paid him off. Yodle or their attorney, O'Connor and Aronowitz, Neil Rivkin. I'm not saying which one it was. I don't know. I don't know if he was paid off or he just didn't like me. But the documentation clearly shows that what they were doing is illegal and that it was being covered up by Hummel. Now, this was also argued in the court papers before the appellate court and the Court of Appeals. Yodle claims it made $88 million in 2011, according to Inc. 500. In its paperwork to the court, Leach in his affidavit to the court states that Yodle has over 21,000 live campaigns. 21,000. It was further documented Yodle charges between $500 per campaign, and in a statement by the Cunningham in a newspaper article, he stated they can charge up to $5,000 for a campaign. So they're making between $500 and $5,000. So at $500 per campaign, 21,000 campaigns per month, that's $10,500,000 per month of advertising at the lowest rate. This would be over $126 million a year at the lowest rate. Wait a minute. 126 million, but they're only claiming they make 88 million. What happened to the other $50 million in advertising? I don't know. Assuming a rate of $750 per campaign, saying that was an average, this would be $15.5 million per month or $189 million per year. What happened to the 38 to $101 million? Because you take 189 minus the 88, that's $101 million difference. Nobody sits down and does the math on stuff. I do. More dollars. Appellant is using Yodle's figures. As Yodle is scamming tens of millions of dollars, they probably figured out how to make this money vanish. Yeah. They put it into an account. They claim you have it in the account, but it hasn't been used for advertising, so technically they're not declaring it for money, is what I'm assuming. Now, I'm not an accountant. I don't know taxes. I don't know. That's just an opinion of mine. Like the opinion of why Judge Hummel would lie, stating that I agreed to this. The recording of my phone calls. Where? I'll guarantee you, he cannot show where it is. That's an official, he's written that order, which is an official document that contains false information. That's an E felony. But he knows he'll be covered up for it. And one theory of mine is that Yodle is still keeping on the books the money that is left over after a client leaves Yodle, as Yodle is claiming the money is still in the customer's account and said money will never be used by Yodle. Yodle is not claiming that this money as income because Yodle has not charged the customer. The money supposedly just sits there. I got a couple of bridges I can sell you. You have been ripped off by Yodle. If you've been ripped off, you can thank Christian Hummel, Appellate Court Judge Rose, Latin, and Stein and Egan, but most of all, thank Jonathan Lippman. They have all aided and abetted Yodle in this. Lippman, when I filed the papers with the Court of Appeals, not only did he dismiss it, he charged me $100 for filing the papers with the Court of Appeals. These Democrats, Lippman, is covering up. How much does Yodle donate to politicians or the 5 people that own it to the Democrats in New York State? They're headquartered in New York City. They're screwing people left and right. It's got to stop. Are they working? Is the government paying companies like Yodle to record phone conversations? of businesses and stuff. Now, some of these businesses can be lawyers. They do work for lawyers' offices, doctors' offices. So if you're going through a number which the person calling in would not know, calling in on a number that gets you to the doctor's office and it's being recorded by Yodle, it's legal in New York because one person knows it's being recorded, the doctor's or the lawyer's office. You don't, but you're giving out private information as to why you need an attorney or why you need to see the doctor. Personal information that's nobody else's business, and it's being recorded by a third party. This needs to be investigated. There needs to be hearings on why the judiciary is covering up illegal recordings of phone conversation and allowing companies like Yodle to bamboozle, swindle money from other people. It's got to end. These law firms know exactly what they're doing. Granted, they're paid to defend them. But that's it. They're lying through their teeth. And if they hadn't given me all this information, a lot of it, but they never figured I would put anything together of it. Just give him some information, he'll go away, and we'll get it dismissed. The other thing is, when I went to the CASP hearing, that was just when I appealed Hummel's ruling dismissing the whole thing. Also, I sued Leach in North Carolina, and there was another person in Arizona. Now, under the law, they have a long-arm statute in New York State. But under the law, if you call up and you place an order, for something, and they take it and they screw it up, you can't, the other party on the other end, New York State has no jurisdiction for just taking an order. But that's not what happened in this case. In this case, Leach spent over an hour and a half on the phone with me, telling me all about Yodle, having me go through, I think it was Yodle's website, because that's where I got a lot of the copies. Now, all this is on my website, justicefornewyork.com. Just go under Yodle. Documenting all this. I documented. That's more than just taking a phone order. But Judge Hummel ruled that's all they did was take a phone order. Setting up my account in Arizona, going over it with me, but not telling me that my phone calls were being recorded. That's more than just taking a phone order by setting it up so I have a tracking number that I never agreed to, and it was never told to me they were using one. And setting up the illegal tracking and recording of my phone conversation is more than just taking an order. This is how stuff is covered up by the judiciary. The problem is when you do an appeal, people only see the orders. They don't see the briefs. And it should be required in this day and age, the legislature of the state of New York needs to pass a law that on the internet, not only does the order get published, but also everybody's brief and reply briefs go with it. So people can see what the legal arguments were. That would cut down tremendously on the corruption in New York State. Right now, they can state anything they want. It says, he says, I agreed to it. So everybody believes, well, the judge said it, so it must be true. Lippman saying I have no constitutional question, I have no right to appeal or anything else. They're screwing hundreds of businesses in this state, and they're in all 52 states as far as I know by now. They have offices in North Carolina, Arizona, and who knows where else. But that's what they had at the time. And they're screwing people out of their money, businesses. It's got to stop. Where's Schneiderman's office? They're not doing anything. I complained to the Attorney General's office in New York State over this. Von Vorst, I think it was who I went to. He didn't do anything. Sends me a letter. Well, you're in court, so we can't do anything. I went to the federal court building and talked to Rick Bayless, Assistant U.S. Attorney. He didn't want to do anything. I went to the FBI's office, sat there for an hour while the gal came back from lunch. Little short blonde hair girl with sort of long hair, dirty blonde. as soon as I mentioned it, she never heard of Hummel, even though he's an administrative law judge. I mean, a magistrate in the U.S. District Court in Albany. You know, they don't want to get involved. They don't care that people are getting ripped off and businesses are getting ripped off. That's what makes me think even more so that the federal government, the Democrats, are now using private businesses to record phone conversations. All documentation concerning Justice for New York videos can be found at justicefornewyork.com.